Algebra 2, Lesson 6.3, we're really focusing on the same basic properties of exponents, but especially focusing in on negative exponents. So let's take a look at example 1. As we're looking at this problem, where we're simplifying x squared times x to the negative fifth. By the way, this x would just have a power of 1. I hope when you look on the right here with these properties, you would agree that property number 1 seems to fit the description best. We would add all of these powers together. So we'd take 2 plus 1 plus negative 5. And 2 plus 1 is 3. 3 plus negative 5 is actually negative 2. But what you're going to see for the directions here is you want to have positive exponents only. So look at property number 5. We're going to be using this extensively. If you have a negative power, you've got to take the reciprocal. You've got to move that term to the denominator and then write your power as a positive. And then you're done. When we look at number 2, property number 2 really seems to fit the bill. So we'll use that subtraction property. We'll take the top power, which is negative 10, minus the bottom power, which is a 1. Negative 10 minus 1 is negative 11. Then we're back to property number 5. We can't have a negative power, so we've got to take the reciprocal, and we'll say 1 over x to the 11th. Take a look at number 3. Number 3 is really a threefold kind of a problem. We've got our numbers here, 6 and 2. We're going to have to consider what's happening with those. We've got our x's. We're going to look at that in just a moment. Then we also have our y's. And I think it's very helpful and very important to look at the problem from that perspective. Now, of course, 6 divided by 2, you would be able to get that answer as 3 in a heartbeat. But then property number 2 is coming into play, where we're going to have x to a power over x to a power. We'll take x to the numerator's power, x to the negative 1 minus negative 2. Likewise, over here we'll have y to the negative 5, then minus a 7. And guys, minus a negative always is going to turn into plus a positive. So negative 1 plus 2 is just a 1. Negative 5 minus 7, well, it's like you lost $5, then you lost 7, bad day. You're at negative 12 then. But you can't leave your answer in this form because you can't have negative exponents. So what you do is you move the y to the 12th to the bottom. You could leave x to the 1 just as an x, and then you're good to go. Couple more. For number 4, we're really using the power to a power property. That's property number 3 here. Everything gets squared. Use parentheses when you're doing this. It's negative 5 to the second. Here we'll have b to the power that's negative 3 times a 2. Then we'll say c to the 4 times a 2. And negative 5 squared, very importantly, it's so critical to remember the parentheses. Here, if you have your calculator out, I think this right here is where so many kids get the problem wrong. They don't use parentheses. They'll say, oh, negative 5 squared, let's say that's negative 25. Guys, that's not it. It's all of this expression being squared. Negative 5 squared, negative 5 times negative 5 is a positive 25. Just want to show you that it's negative 5 times negative 5. If you don't have parentheses around that, you're saying square the 5 and put a negative out in front, and that's not what's happening. So when you're squaring, cubing, whatever it is with a number, put parentheses around that number and then raise it to the power. Negative 3 times 2, here you'd get b to the negative 6. Here you'd get c to the 8th. Only one term has a negative power, so only one term gets moved. That's that b to the 6th. That goes down, and we are good. Well, the next part of the problem, this last one, number 5, this might be the trickiest one. Look, I'm going to raise everything to the negative third. So powers to powers, we're going to multiply. Down below, that 4 gets raised to the negative third also. And here we'll have p to the negative 5 times negative 3. Guys, to get you some help, I want to show you that you could think of this as just a 1 over that 4 to the negative third. So look, we could go alpha y equals and say parentheses negative 4, bump it up to the third, not third, pardon me, you wanted it to be negative third, pardon me. So I'll just type negative 3. You can see you actually get negative 64. So please understand that this 1 over 4 to the negative third, that becomes negative 64. Negative 2 times negative 3, that's p to the 6. And then down below here, this is p to the 15. Negative 5 times negative 3. But then we're going to use our subtraction property. We'll have 6 minus a 15, and 6 minus 15 is negative 9. And because I have a negative 9 for a power, that has to be brought down. And that will be our final answer.